Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Connecting with Kim here on Tampa Bay Arts and Education Network. I'm your host, Kim Droege, and we're so delighted that you joined us today because we have a wonderful program coming up. And before we start, I'd like to give a shout out to my sponsor, the Spring of Tampa Bay, who provides my on-air wardrobe and all my beautiful jewels and everything I get to wear every show from the Spring Boutique located at the corner of Swann and Henderson here in Tampa. And if you haven't been there yet, I want you to make me happy and go there, because all net proceeds from the boutique and the thrift store on North Willow go to support the mission of the Spring of Tampa Bay, which is to provide sanctuary and services for survivors of domestic violence and their children. And they've been doing it a long time, and they're really good at what they do. So go, shop, find great stuff like I'm wearing, and enjoy life. So we are so excited today because we have a first-timer on Connecting with Kim, and it's for something very important. Later on this year, I'm going to be focusing some more effort on the Port of Tampa Bay. The Port of Tampa Bay is an economic driver, not only for Tampa, but for the entire region. And so we're going to start today talking about something that's very important, which is jobs in the Port of Tampa. And so I want to introduce my guest to you. I'm pleased to punch she's here. Her name is Judy Paradis, and she is, and I don't want to get this wrong, so I'm going to refer to my notes. She is at Jefferson High School, and she is the co-director for the Maritime and Marine Environmental Science Academy at Jefferson High School. Welcome, Judy, Connecting with Kim.
Thank you so much, Kim. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to let everybody know what we do.
Oh, I can't wait to I couldn't wait to have the show. And you and I have talked a lot behind the scenes about the show, but I couldn't wait to have the show because this is so important. And it's something that I didn't know anything about, so I'm also pleased as punch when I get to learn at the same time as everybody out there. So as everybody who watches my show knows, I like to give my guest at the top of the show a couple of minutes or however long they want to take to share their life journey, because you just never know when somebody listening out there or watching out there shares something in common with you. And probably more inclined to stay and listen. So take it away.
So my journey has kind of come full circle with education. I grew up in a little town outside of Jacksonville, Green Cove Springs, and moved to Tampa in my 10th grade year in high school. Unfortunately, education in my household was not in the forefront. It was not a priority at all. It was kind of a little bit of a rough upbringing. So in high school, I had a teacher who was the most amazing teacher ever. And I think everybody kind of has that one teacher. And she was that for me. So she recognized as a 15, 16, 17-year-old kid, I was struggling and didn't really have any direction. And she took me under her wing and got me to go to college. So she was the impetus for me to go to college. I'm the only one in my family that went because unfortunately it just wasn't a thing in our house.
Right.
So she wanted me to be a teacher. And I thought, I don't know. I will go to college, but I don't know about being a teacher. So fast forward, got through college, and I was going to go to veterinary school.
Oh,
that was my
was
my passion. That was what I was going to do. So I got my 4-year degree, applying to veterinary colleges. Because I didn't have that support at home, I struggled. I worked 3 jobs to get through college, and I thought, you know what, I'm not sure if I want to do another 4 years. She was in my ear telling me, you need to be a teacher, you need to be a teacher, you need to be a teacher. So I thought, well, okay. There was a Hillsborough County job fair for teachers, and I thought, you know, I'll just check it out. Long story short, checked it out. I got hired on the spot. Yay! Yay! It's the best thing that's ever happened to me. As a matter of fact, my husband, I convinced him to quit his job, go to college for the first time at the age of 39, and we both teach together now. So I've been in Hillsborough County teaching at Jefferson for 19 years. Never in my wildest dreams would I ever thought I'd be a high school teacher. And we love it. It's our passion. We live, breathe Jefferson High School and the Maritime program.
I love this story for so many reasons, because first of all, I love it because you're a Florida native, and that is a rare bird. And secondly, I, like you, was the first person in my family, and girl, because I'm the only girl on both sides of the family, that went to college. And so had education, I have to say, in my family was a high point. But you know, I struggled and I had to pay my way. And so this is so, see what I mean? You have no idea what people are sharing with you out there, right? So I'm so happy for you, and I understand what you mean about having that one person in your life, that one teacher, because I had that person too, but mine was in 3rd grade, and she instilled a love of reading in me. You know, I read before, but she really instilled that love in me. So it's one person can make a difference in your life, in the trajectory, right? That's wonderful. So tell me, let's start talking about the Maritime Academy, because I bet there are lots of people out there like me who don't know anything about this and are sitting out there going, what is the Maritime Academy? Maybe I should investigate that. Where does that lead? So start us off.
So the Maritime Academy is really Tampa's hidden gem. We are the only one in Hillsborough County. Matter of fact, we're only one of about 50 in the country.
Really?
Yes. So we're unique in so many ways. First of all, it's my husband and I together, so it's a husband and wife team. The kids actually do call us school mom and dad. So it's a family-oriented academy. Was started by a gentleman by the name of Dave Sessoms and others at Port Tampa Bay through the Propeller Club. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. He passed away in December of 2016. So he unfortunately didn't get to see the fruits of his labor. The port is incredibly supportive. He and others realized in this maritime industry, which really nobody knows anything about, it's really the lifeblood of the global economy. And he recognized that he himself, as well as others, were aging out. He called it the silver tsunami, and everybody was starting to retire and there was no way to take their place. So he partnered with the school system to create what is now the Maritime Academy.
Well, hopefully, through the pandemic, people have come to understand how important the global maritime industry is to your ability to live life on a daily basis. And number 2, how important these people are that keep this entire global maritime system functioning. So this is fantastic.
Absolutely. And most people, especially in Tampa, the Port Tampa is the most amazing economic engine, and people don't realize that. You drive across the crosstown and you look down at the shipyards, but nobody really knows what goes on there. So in the Maritime Academy, our goal is to expose the kids and educate them on the opportunities that are available that most people have no idea.
So tell me, how many, so it's located within the high school, within Jefferson High School. So how many kids are in the Maritime Academy, and how do they get into the Maritime Academy?
Okay, so it is a 4-year program. It is a magnet program. You have to apply to be accepted into the program. Currently we have 75 students. And they go from 9th grade to 12th grade. So they still get their regular core classes. They will take their biologies, they will take their chemistry, reading, math, all of those things. But in addition, they get the 4 years of Maritime, Maritime 1, Maritime 2, 3, and 4, 9th through 12th grade, in addition to 2 years of marine science. And within that, we expose them through the port of the opportunities afforded in the maritime industry.
Okay, so tell me what those opportunities are in the maritime industry.
So the great thing is anything from high-paying blue-collar jobs to global CEOs of shipping companies.
Wow.
And everything in between. You can be a tugboat captain, a harbor pilot, logistics, terminal operators, and anything that you can think of. And it's not all at sea. Most people think maritime is go away at sea. Yes, that's a big part of it, and that's very lucrative as well, but there's so many shoreside jobs available to support that.
You know, I've had a couple of friends who've taken the tour of the Port of Tampa Bay. I know you offer them on a fairly regular basis. In fact, there was just one not too long ago. And I've had some friends who've done that, and they all say the same thing. I had no idea how big the port was, everything that was involved in the port, how important it is. I think this is wonderful. So let me understand something. So you started 9th grade as part of the Maritime Academy. Is there any kind of like, you know, prerequisites or screening, or, I mean, what if you get involved in the Maritime Academy in the 9th grade and then all of a sudden you say, yeah, I don't want to do this?
Actually, we don't have many that happens.
Oh,
I mean, once they get there, they love it.
Yeah.
It's just the education part and trying to let people know what it is, because you say maritime, everybody's like, oh, what is that?
Yeah, what does that mean?
So there's an application process that you do have to apply, and it is understood that you're there for the entire 4 years, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. Of course, if you decide it's not for you, then of course you can go back to your home school, whatever that designation is based on your address.
Right.
So it's not a lock-in, you don't have to stay there. But I got to say, when we get them, they don't like to leave.
That is so,
yeah.
you should be so proud of that.
We love it. It's our passion.
Yeah.
We live it, we breathe it, it's our passion.
So when they, so at the end of 4 years, when they graduate high school at the end of 4 years and from the Maritime Academy, are they employable at that point in the maritime industry? Or do they require further education?
It depends on what they want to do. There are some of the blue-collar jobs that will hire directly out of high school, welding, for example, or some of the blue-collar jobs. One of the goals is to get the kids exposed to the maritime colleges. If they go on to a maritime college, we have a young lady right now who's 23 who is earning $90,000 a year because she went to the Maritime College. She is a third mate servicing oil rigs in Louisiana and Texas.
Wow.
So the opportunities are endless, and it just depends on the areas of interest. You can go marine science, you can do maritime, you can do trade schools. There's so many opportunities. So,
and now I know that you have both young men and young women enrolled in this Maritime Academy. Do you have any kind of program to help them if they want to go on to further their education, to take a position in the maritime industry that requires higher education? Do you have something like, what if they can't afford it?
This is where the port comes in. This is the best partnership I've ever seen. I've been an educator in Hillsborough County for 19 years. I've never seen anything like this. It is just amazing. We have such a strong partnership from the port CEO, Paul Anderson, all the way down. They are so willing to help our students. They are mentors. They guide the students. There is a Tampa Bay Maritime Education Scholarship Foundation. So they hold charity events throughout the year to raise money for scholarships for our students. It's a win-win. It's just amazing that I don't know anybody who wouldn't want their child to be involved in what we do.
Well, in my next life, I want to be on the board of Port of Tampa, because I'm telling you, these people run the most amazing events throughout the year to raise funds and to raise awareness. And I'm always looking at the Facebook posts, so envious, and thinking, I want to go to that. So that in my next life, I'm gonna be involved in that, because it's so wonderful what you do. So help me well, you know what, this might be a good time to reintroduce you, Judy, as our guest on Connecting with Kim. So if you're just joining us right now, my guest is Judy Paradis, who is at Jefferson High School and who is a co-director of the Maritime Academy and Marine Environmental, Maritime and Marine Environmental Science Academy at Jefferson High School. And we're talking about the careers that you can have in the maritime industry and how important they are to the Port of Tampa Bay, which is a huge economic driver for Tampa as well as the surrounding area. So we're going to get back to, so they can go on to higher education. And does that mean 4-year degrees after that, you know, like a 4-year college degree in the maritime industry for certain careers?
Yes, it can be a 4-year career, a 4-year education. They can also have trade schools where they get certifications to do that route as well. So it really, there's just so many opportunities, amazing opportunities for these kids. We just had one young lady who was accepted into the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy, which is a really big deal. She had to have congressional nomination to actually be accepted into it. So Senator Rick Scott actually signed her nomination. So the possibilities are endless. It's just amazing the opportunities that are afforded to these kids.
This is so, I mean, and so these kids in the Maritime Academy come from all over Hillsborough County, right?
All over Hillsborough County.
All right, from all the different high schools in Hillsborough County.
Correct.
Okay, so again, I just want to back up a second because, you know, we covered this, but you might not. They have to, they come from all the different schools in Hillsborough County. It's a 4-year program. They start in the 9th grade, and they have to apply. So it's an application process to be a part of the Maritime Academy. And from graduating after 4 years, senior high school, you know, the equivalent, you can have a job in the maritime industry, and a good job. I mean, this is something I think people don't understand enough of. Not everybody is going to go to college and sit behind a computer screen and make $1 million a year. I mean, it just doesn't happen, right? There are many, many jobs, good paying, with benefits, that you can have that give you a fulfilling and rewarding life that don't have anything to do with, you know, just becoming a history major in college or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. Don't send the emails. I love history too. But I think that we need to focus on this because tell me some of the, so I think we should explore some, I'm sorry, it's allergy season, so my nose is itching. Poor Judy's eyes are watering. But we still love Florida. Tell me some of the positions that are in the maritime industry. Like, I think we should start like at base level and then work up from there because I think we need to give people, some idea of the scope of things you can do.
So here's the unique thing. Let me back up a second.
Yeah.
Between the junior and senior years for our students in the summer, they have an opportunity to job shadow. And what that means is they go to the port for 2 or 3 days a week with certain companies, and they actually get to shadow. So they go in groups of 2, and they shadow. They shadow the harbor pilots. They shadow the shipyards. They shadow the logistics. There's a saying, if you can't see it, you can't dream it. So when they see it, then they can dream it. So we've had kids on tugboats. We've had kids on cranes. We've had kids on deck. We've had kids that get to watch the harbor pilots transfer. So they get an idea and a scope of exactly what is available and what suits them.
Right.
Some of them, definitely, you have to do the 4 years of college, but some you can work your way up just like anything else. So the opportunities are really, really endless, and what's great with a port is they are so supportive. They are willing to take these kids under their wing and show them and teach them and invite them into their companies. And that's what's unique about us. Not every other magnet program that's kind of unheard of, that you let a 17-year-old kid onto your shipyard or onto your business to watch what you do.
Yeah, because you mentioned at the top of the interview that there are 50 across maritime academies across the United States, or are we doing the world?
United States. In the United States, yeah.
In the United States. And so I'm sort of inferring from this discussion that those maritime academies may not enjoy the familial, close relationship with their port that you have here.
Correct. And that's what makes it so amazing. I mean, we are like a port family. They have been so generous. They have welcomed our academy into their world, and it's a partnership that it just works. It's amazing.
I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, that is so amazing. Because you're right. I mean, other companies in other industries, they also offer these kinds of internships or shadowing that you're talking about because when I was in college, I had to work during the summer, so I tried to work in things that I thought I might be interested in after graduation because, just actually being in the company and doing the job helps you understand, well, do I really want to do this? Is this really the direction I want my life to take? Because, once you start working,
life gets in the way.
Life gets in the way, but also what I love about your story is you're passionate about what you do, and that is so important in life for you to be passionate about what you're going to spend the 30 years or 25 years or whatever you're going to spend that amount of time doing it. You got to really love it. Otherwise, it's just,
it becomes,
it's drudgery.
Yeah.
Right?
We love it, and it's unique because my husband and I are in it together.
I know, I love that too.
And the port is so great because they invite us and our students, they sponsor us to go to all of these great events that you were talking about. So
I know it's
phenomenal.
I'm coming back. It's in my next life.
Me too. So it's great because aside from the education piece, there's the social piece that we're teaching the kids also.
Right.
There's a big event called the Anchor Ball that we take the kids to, which is an optional black tie event, fancy event. Our kids have never been exposed to that. So think about the learning process that's involved in teaching the kids those social skills. What fork to use, how many pieces of silverware on the table,
right.
How do you interact, how do you network. So we're teaching them all of these kinds of things. And in addition, my husband and I have set up every year we do a Maritime Expo at our high school. So we have one coming up this week, actually tomorrow. We have over 30 colleges and companies coming to Jefferson High School to meet and greet our students as a networking opportunity. So the kids are learning right off the bat what it takes to network. How do you talk to adults? How do you talk to working people? What questions to ask? We have them coming from all over the country. We have Great Lakes Maritime Academy coming. We have the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy coming. We have Coast Guard recruiters. We have Hillsborough County Sheriff's Marine Patrol coming. There's over 30 companies coming to our high school to meet our kids and expose them to the job opportunities. That's amazing.
That's
They didn't have
amazing.
that when I was in high school.
No, in my past life, before I became doing Connecting with Kim, I knew the owner. My girlfriend was dating the owner of Great Lakes Shipping, and so we were. My late husband and I were invited to do a got on the working boat, and sailed through the Great Lakes to went through the St. Lawrence Seaway and ended up in Montreal. I can't tell you what a great experience that was. We were on this working ship for eating with the crew, doing all the things for like 3-4 days. It was a fabulous experience. And we started in Toronto, and then we ended up in Montreal. So it was. I remember that, on a working boat. I'd never had that experience before. I always loved the water, so it was what maybe in my next life I can come back and be in the Maritime Academy.
Please do.
I love the water. I love anything to do with the water. So tell me about the kinds of careers in the maritime industry that would require higher education. A secondary degree.
So most of the students, once they go to the Maritime Academies, they come out as a third mate. So currently we have a young lady who is a ship captain in Washington State. She's in charge of a fleet of ferries. We have a young lady working in the Texas, Louisiana area. We have a young man who is working in the Texas area as well, on a fuel tanker. Those are kinds of jobs that would require the 4-year degree. They come out sitting for their Coast Guard license as well.
Oh, I was going to ask you about that. So I know Coast Guard has their own academy. So can you come out of the high school Maritime Academy and then go to the Coast Guard Academy and become in the Coast Guard?
Absolutely. We have one senior this year who's going in the Coast Guard.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So
and is that the same kind of process where you have to be, you have to go through some congressional nomination, or you have to be?
There's two ways. For him, he's just enlisting. You can go to the Coast Guard Academy, which would be a 4-year academy as well. So he has decided he is going into the Coast Guard, just enlisting.
Right.
So he's already in, and that was because of one of the recruiters that came to our Maritime Expo last year. So the opportunities that once the kids meet these people and they get an idea to see what they really do, they get hooked. It's absolutely amazing.
And so let me just understand something, because we got like 4 minutes left in this, and I want to go back to something we talked about at the beginning of the show, which is how you became an educator, and through the wonderful influence of this mentor that you had, you became an educator. And how did you decide, because now you're partnered with your husband in this academy, how did you decide how did you become focusing strictly on maritime?
Well,
and how did that develop?
That's an interesting story. We were approached by our administrators as a husband and wife team, would you do the Maritime Academy? And we thought, great, but what is maritime?
Yeah.
What is that? So the port was gracious enough to take us under their wing and send us for 3 weeks to the port so we could shadow and see what the kids shadow. We fell in love day one. We thought, oh my gosh, how did we not know this was here? How did people not know about this? So we spent 3 weeks. We spent time with the harbor pilots, which is phenomenal in and of itself.
Oh, that sounds like a fun thing to do.
Amazing. We spent time at shipyards. We spent time with logistics. We spent time with port security. I mean, we fell in love day one. Just absolutely fell in love and said, yes, absolutely. How come this hasn't been done before?
Sign me up.
Sign us up.
I'm
yes.
ready.
Yes.
Okay. And I love the fact that you're doing it together as a partnership. I would have loved to have John on with us. John, your husband's name is John. I would have loved to have John on with us too, but we're kind of a one-on-one kind of show. But maybe in the future, we might do something. So before we sign off, we still have a couple minutes. I want to talk about, you mentioned some of the events that you have to introduce the kids, give them social skills, networking skills, etc. Tell me about if some of the other events, if we haven't covered it already.
So we do various events with the port, for example. We take them to industry night, which is award ceremonies. We take them to social networking gatherings. We take them to, they have a crab fest, which is an all-you-can-eat crab. So we take them, we have a table set up, and the kids get to actually see, wow, this is what people do on their time. This is really fun. These are fun people. So we do a lot of things like that. School-wide, the marine science side, we do dissections. So they get the science side of it as well for those kids that want to go into the marine science side and maybe not so much the maritime side.
Marine science doing dissections, what does that mean specifically?
So, science lab, learning science lab skills. So we dissect squid and fish and octopus.
To find out what?
Just education to find out anatomy and find out if that's the kind of career that you would like to do as well.
Okay.
Because there seems to be a little bit of a disconnect. Kids want to go in marine science or be a marine scientist, and they don't know what that is. They want to pet a dolphin.
Yeah,
they
well,
don't.
I wanted to be a marine biologist at one point in my life. Believe it or not, I actually
and that's
did.
That's a great field, but you have to understand going into it the education that's required of that.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of hands-on activities. We take them kayaking, a safe paddle kayaking course, which is awesome. Their junior year, they love it.
Yeah.
So we try to do as much hands-on as we can, because that kind of gives them the hook.
Well, unfortunately, we're out of time. It goes fast. I know everyone says that to me. And, I feel like I just sat down. But, Judy, I can't thank you enough for being my guest on Connecting with Kim today. I think this has been a wonderful show to enlighten and educate our folks out there about the Maritime Academy and what opportunities are available, because I can't stress enough how important this is. Port of Tampa Bay, how important it is to our economic health and welfare. And we need people to continue to do those jobs. So thank you again.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited, and I just thank you for helping us get the word out that we're here.
It was wonderful. So that's all we have time for today on Connecting with Kim. We hope you come back next week for another edition of Connecting with Kim, where we make living your life in our corner of paradise that much better. And let's give a website that they can go to if they want to find out, just as we sign off.
Great. So I'd like to first thank the Port Tampa Bay and the Tampa Propeller Club for helping us get this program started. If you log on to the Hillsborough County Public Schools website, there is a link there for magnet programs, and you just click on it and you will find us.
There we go. We're out of time. So long. See you next week.